So who do you pull for? You're an Auburn fan. We need them to be really, really tight. Just tight. We want them to feel safe. All right, here we go. Whenever. I don't know when. I don't know when. Yeah!
2, 3, ah!
In the whole Waorani tribe, all my friends my age, I don't know of a single friend who before I was 20 years of age, not a single friend whose father died of natural causes. Not a single one. People always say, why do you missionaries go in and ruin people's culture? Why don't you just leave them happy like they were? They don't know what they're talking about. It was a miserable way of living, but nobody had any way to stop. They don't have any judges. They don't have any policemen. They don't have any laws. Even now, down in the jungles, there's no law. If you want to go kill somebody, you just kill them. If you want to steal their stuff, you do. But then you have to suffer the consequences. That's why there's so much killing. Well, the Waorani have a word, Wangungi, which means the creator one. Because the Waorani didn't know about God, but they knew that there was a God. They knew there was a creator. Because, hey, look around us. How are you going to have a creation without having a creator? The idea that people would believe that all of this just happened, the Waorani think that's really stupid. But they didn't know that Wangungi had a son. And that's what Dayuma said. Remember when she said, when Minkayani said, when is the would-be family going to come and attack us? And she said, they're never going to come and attack you. She said, they came to tell you that Wangungi has a son, and his son coming here and being speared, he didn't spear back, so that the people that speared him could learn to walk his trail. The Waorani don't use the word Christian. What they call themselves is Wangungi Ponenga. Now, go is to go. Guess what po is? To come. Wangungi Ponenga is a God coming after one. See, Wangungi wanted us to know how to find his place. So what he did is he sent his son to mark the trail. Now, the Waorani knew about this because whenever they would be attacked in a clearing, the oldest tempo warrior or the father of the clan, when he would flee, he would mark his trail. He would bend twigs in a certain way, and he would make marks on trees, even in the dark. And all the people in the clearing knew his markings. Even the little kids knew his markings, and they knew, okay, this means go up to the top of the ridge and then go upriver. And the Waorani knew that when they had to flee, even the little kids would flee sometimes, and then they would live all by themselves at night, sleeping under the roots of the trees, hoping that the manyi ant wouldn't get them, but knowing that if they went outside that the jaguar would get them. So they would do that sometimes for days, but then when the coast was clear, then they would walk around the clearing until they found the first marking that the father of the clan or their father had made, and then they would start following those markings. And guess what they knew? That if they followed those markings long enough, where would they end up? That's right, where their father was. So when they heard that Wangungi had sent his son to mark his trail, they understood exactly what that meant. That meant that if they would follow Itota's markings far enough, where would they end up? They would end up in Wangungi Weka, where God lives. I never understood why Minkai adopted me until my mom died a few years ago. And my sister was going through my mom's correspondence, through her letters, and she found a letter that my aunt had written to my mom in which she said, Minkai came to my house this morning. He was very upset. And he said, what's the matter with your boy? Meaning me, because their word for mother and aunt is the same. So I was considered my aunt's nephew, but I was also considered her son. So Minkai came and he said, what's wrong with your boy? He doesn't know anything. He's totally ignorant. And my aunt said, what? He said, he can't track animals. He can't even follow a trail. Now, their trails aren't like Rama of the jungles. I mean, it's really hard. I can follow one pretty well now, but I couldn't follow a trail. And he said, he doesn't know how to spear fish. And then he said, he doesn't even know how to shoot a blowgun. He can't whittle darts. He doesn't know how to make poison. And then he said, who's going to teach him how to live? And my aunt said, Minkai bito tomenga mempo dube wendapa Abano kibito, abano ponimi. She said, Minkai, you having been the one who spear killed his father, who do you say should teach him to live? And she said, Minkai was kind of embarrassed and angry, and he left. But he came back that afternoon. He said, Nemo, it's true. Having spear killed Baba's father, I myself will teach him how to live. Now, people ask me all the time how I could have forgiven the man that killed my father. But you know what? I was a little boy, and I saw my aunt and my mom and the other widows. None of them held it against the Waodani for having killed our dads and their husbands. But you know what? I knew after living with the Waodani for a short period of time, if somebody killed your dad, you know what? You would have the right to go kill them, but you would also have the responsibility. It would be your responsibility to go kill them or somebody in their family or all of them to avenge your father's death. And if you didn't do that, then you weren't accepted as a proper member of your clan. So it was going to be my responsibility to kill Minkai or Minkai and his sons to avenge the fact that Minkai had killed my father. And yet that very man taught me how to make a spear and how to throw a spear and how to make poison and shoot the blowgun. You know what? The bigger story of forgiveness here is that Minkai, with every reason to believe that I was going to grow up and kill him, he taught me the skills that I needed. You know why? Because he had become a Wangungi Ponenga, a creator coming after one. And it transformed his life. This is from number 2 for the Corinth people. It says, that's why whoever stay tight with Christ, they one new kind of guy. The old things no stay no more. Look, the new things won't come. All that stuff, it come from God because he wouldn't bring us back the same side with him because of what Christ wouldn't do. And now he tell us for work so the other people can come back the same side with him too. Because we the talker guys for Christ. So we tell all the people that God stay begging them for come back. Because we Christ guys, so we say, hey, beg you guys, come on back the same side with Christ. Guys, it's about passing it on. I think that we refer in the scriptures to God as our Heavenly Father, Jesus as our brother. We're heirs and joint heirs with him. All the motifs are family because our relationship to God is like your guys' relationship. He's your father, and he's your father, and he's your father. It's this special relationship that we're celebrating this weekend. That's our relationship with our Father. If you really want to amount to something, you pass it on to him and him. If your sons end up doing more than you did, it's going to be to your credit because you're the guys laying the foundations. That's what it's about. In fact, if people, I go and speak about missions all the time, and there's some really bad misconceptions about missions, but people keep saying, okay, narrow it all down and just tell us. Give us one word that tells us about missions, how to do missions right. And you know what? I'd say if there was just one thing that I could tell you about missions, how to do it right, it's think family. If it doesn't work in the family, don't do it in missions. And if it works in the family, do it in missions. And you know what works in family? Is that we pass on what we have learned to our children, and we teach them the principles, and we teach them the trail to walk, and then we trust that if we teach them enough, then we start letting them take more and more responsibility, and finally they're walking the trail and they're taking care of us. That's the natural progression. That's the way it should be in the church. It is unnatural if your sons get to 30 years of age, if they get to 80 years of age and they still don't know how to tie their shoes, something was seriously wrong. And guys, when we go in missions and we do things for people and 80 years later or 30 years later they still can't do it for themselves, guys, it's not because they're poor children, it's because we're poor parents. That's right. And you know what? I'll tell you what the biggest misconception that I run into in missions is people think that the purpose of missions is to evangelize the world. It isn't. I know it isn't, because when Jesus told those 11 common, ordinary men, and they really were pretty common, these were not the sharpest tacks in the box. When he told them to go out and preach the gospel to all nations, to make disciples of all the nations, they weren't representing missions. They were representing the church. Jesus' commission is to the church to reach the world. The purpose of missions is not to evangelize the world. The purpose of missions is to go and plant the church where it doesn't exist so that the church can evangelize its own world. That's just like fathers and sons. That's exactly the same thing. And we haven't been doing a good job of it. And God has, through the Waodani, it wasn't my idea, it was their idea. They said, nobody can teach the people. They said, dentists come in and they fix the people's teeth, but that's all they can do is fix the people's teeth. And they said, who's going to teach those people that they have a cancer, that they have a heart disease that's going to kill them forever? They said, the dentist comes in, he can't talk our talk. And I said, so what do you want me to do? And they said, when you teach us to fix the people's teeth and we do it and they see us well, then we will tell them how God can fix their heart.